How do you connect your ideas in a text? In this lesson, you will learn how to connect ideas in a text by using example, addition, contrast, and concession transitions. Let's review a moment. The goal of persuasive writing is to get the reader to agree with whatever it is you're arguing as the author. So you must make it easy for the reader to understand your arguments. Everything you do must be easy for them so that when they're reading, they can get what you're saying. If you're making it difficult on them, they're not going to end up agreeing with you in the end. Let's take a look at how we can do that. Here's one of the paragraphs from the essay. One effect of not getting enough sleep is falling grades. When you are tired, it is harder to learn. For example, after a late night, many teens find themselves sitting through math class with their eyes drooping and head bobbing. Not only do they miss out on the lesson, but they will also be doubly tired, so working on the assignment will be much more difficult. As a result, these tired teens might not understand the next lesson, or they might lose out on homework points, causing their grades to drop. Clearly, losing sleep puts teens on a fast track to an unimpressive report card. When I'm talking about transitions, what I'm talking about are these words in here. Here's just a few of them from the paragraph. It's important to know how to put these into your essay because they help the reader understand what it is you're saying and what information is being presented. So there are example transitions, which are transitions that you use when you are introducing new information for the first time. So if a reader sees an example transition, they know that new information is coming up. Some common example transitions are, for example, for instance, in particular, and in fact. It's important to note that in fact, you use it when you're stating a surprising fact. So it's a little bit different from the other ones. Another type of transition that you can use is an addition transition, which as a writer you use it when you're adding more information, but it's similar to something that you've already said. So when the reader sees an addition transition, they know that they're getting additional information that has something in common with what's been said already. Some common addition transitions are in addition, furthermore, moreover, also, not only but also, and what is more. Then we have contrast transitions. Contrast transitions are what you use when you're adding more information that is actually different from something that you've just written. So they act as a signal to the reader that I'm going to say something new, but it is different from the information that I've just presented. Some common contrast transitions are in contrast, on the other hand, however, and while. Finally, we have concession transitions. These are transitions that you use when you're going to acknowledge the opposite viewpoint or an opposing viewpoint. So when the reader sees a concession transition, they understand that in this moment you are about to say something that actually is different from your entire argument. And common concession transitions are granted, while, although, even so, despite the fact that, and even though. Notice that transitions always have a comma after them, or the comma will go after the transitional phrase, which when you see the ellipsis, the three dots, that means that there's a little bit more information that will come before that comma. So the way to use transitions is first you need to read the information that you're adding to the essay. After you've read it, you need to decide what relationship that information has to the information that you've already written. Based on whatever that relationship is, you're going to choose the appropriate transition. And you're going to add it to the beginning of the new information. So let's take a look at an example. So you have your essay here, and it's time to now put it, or you have your outline here, and it's time to put it into essay format. So you've written out the topic sentence. Cell phones shouldn't be allowed in schools because they disrupt classes. And what I need to do now is I need to add my first supporting detail. And so I'm going to look at that supporting detail, and it says, they ring in the middle of lessons. And I need to ask myself what relationship that has to the information that I've just presented. So I think about this, they ring in the middle of lessons, and I ask myself, what's the relationship there? And the relationship is that I'm giving the first example to prove that they disrupt classes. So I'm going to choose an example transition, and I'm going to write it at the beginning of the new information. So for instance, and I used a comma, and I'm going to say cell phones ring in the middle of lessons. So what you want to do is you want to read the information that you're adding to the essay. You want to decide what relationship that information has to what you've already written. And then you want to choose the appropriate transition and add it to the beginning of the new information you're adding to your essay. In this lesson, you have learned how to connect ideas in a text by using example, addition, contrast, and concession transitions.